Good afternoon, everyone. In this video, I'll be talking about the ethical issues surrounding sushi. This is what sushi looks like. This is a platter that I purchased when I was in Japan. More importantly, this video will be talking about modern fishing practices, its impact on the environment, and some cultural impacts that sushi has had. Sushi's popularity expands around the time that Japan abandons its isolationist policies. In the 1800s, Commander Perry opens Japan up to trade, leading to sort of a mini culture exchange, and at the end of World War II, when the United States helps Japan rebuild. It is around 1950 we start seeing sushi restaurants pop up in the United States. Nowadays, sushi restaurants can be spotted everywhere around the world. With a massive increase in demand, we see that fishermen start getting more efficient at catching fish. They use this method called bottom trawling. Bottom trawling is a form of fishing that's not good for the environment and is pretty wasteful. PETA says that around 145 species of marine life are killed for each piece of tuna caught. Obviously, these fishermen aren't going to waste their time processing low-value animals, so they just throw them away. This waste is known as bycatch. Additionally, the environmental impacts aren't so good. Around 0.52 and 1.47 billion tons of CO2 are released into the atmosphere each year from this practice. CO2 emissions aren't the only concerns, as the seafloor is heavily damaged and may lead to imbalances in the marine ecosystems. So these are some things to consider when you're purchasing sushi. If you really care about it, you can search where your fish is coming from. The last thing I'm going to talk about is sushi's impact on Japanese culture. The sushi we know today is actually derived as a quick food during the late Meiji Restoration era. Sushi was created to accommodate the hard-working lives of Japanese citizens, and it was during this era when Japan saw very rapid industrial growth. As Japan becomes more industrialized, we see a disproportionately large number of its citizens move to urbanized areas. In Japan, around 92% of people live in urbanized areas, meaning less than 10% are living in rural areas. This means that the culture in rural areas are starting to get lost. Generally, these rural areas are taken up by older people, and when these older people die, so can their cultures, traditions, and techniques. In the context of sushi, this is pretty important because you have these small fishing villages that may have knowledge on how to cook some pieces of fish differently, may use like the bloodline of tuna, which is generally avoided, and losing that knowledge would be a shame. I think that is enough information for this short presentation. Thanks for listening to my ethical considerations. Goodbye.